One shot, then another shot. Another homie on another block. Lord, knew it was over when his body dropped. They go to sirens. Here
This is that author Voll Greene, and I'm here with Tidewater Waves to present my novel, Dead Man Standing.
Here come the cops. What should I do? What should I run? Cause if they catch me, then I know I'm done. Plus I'm black with a loaded gun.
This is that author Voll Greene on Tidewater Waves.
How's it going, man?
Pretty good. How are you doing today?
Good. I appreciate you coming out.
Thanks a lot. Glad to be here.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, we'll get straight into it. Who are you and where are you from?
Oof. My name is Voll Greene. I'm a military brat. I was born on the West Coast and raised around the world, and somehow I ended up here. And I've been here for 7 years now, and I actually enjoy it. Actually, I travel back and forth. I live in 2 states, on the West Coast and back out here. So I travel back and forth, but I like it out here a lot.
Yeah, it's a real nice area.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, we'll get straight into, the book, the novel, Dead Man Standing. You can tell the viewers a little bit about that.
Dead Man Standing is about a black banker who gets accused of killing an Irish cop. And it's a lot of twists and turns, things that turn up all around him. He's trying to prove he's innocent. He's a distinguished bank manager, that's renowned for great work, and the world is crumbling before his eyes. And somehow he has to prove that he's innocent because there's a family that needs him.
Okay. So what was your creative process in writing this book?
This book is a reality-based fiction. And this book comes from stories, and my life and people that I know within my life that has similar issues to where the world will crumble around them. And the people who are dear to them will see what was going on. But when they publicize it on news or publicize things on different venues, they could only get a glimpse of it. So this right here is giving you an in-depth feeling or an in-depth sense of what someone is going through when they're dealing with something like this.
I know it speaks to the injustice and, definitely draws from the real world. And also I want to touch on, I'll touch on that a little bit later, but you have a music video for, basically like promo for the book. And
yes.
I want to give you a shout out on that. That's real creative.
Thanks a lot. Shout out, that being said, shout out to Hollywood, MC Hollywood. That's my guy. That's my dude. And he fully represented. He grabbed his aspiration from the book, and he really came. He came with it. You know what I'm saying? And that's my guy. Definitely, I give him a shout out for that. And he's one of the artists we have coming because something I want to do different from authors in the past. All of my novels come with soundtracks, and all of my novels come with that deep feeling of something that's really going on in your world. They're not just a facade or something taken away into a dream world. All my novels give you a roller coaster ride. Of life and what life has to throw at you. And a lot of our artists that are coming with the novels, they give you the same taste.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because the first paragraph is extremely vivid, it just really paints a picture. It's funny when I first, read that, it's like it really reminded me of like music, so it's cool to know that you have that, music piece there as well.
Yes. And that's what brought us all together, me and some of my artists, because I manage some artists as well. And that's what brought us together. Because, sometimes people need that raw, where you can read. Reading is one of the best things that we have nowadays, where we can really gain, I don't know if I can describe it right, a trip away from what you're dealing with. TV is cute. But when you read, reading affects all your senses. And if you get into a good book will take you away from there. And music is the same way. When we go through our deepest struggles, like me, I came up, in a family where we went through our hard times. And when we went through our hard times, we played music and we enjoyed ourselves to forget about the pain, forget about the struggle, at least for 3 minutes. And that's the same thing with my books. One thing I love about my readers who have reached out to me They told me they loved it, and they don't realize I love when they get back to me. One of the best feelings for me is when I can have somebody write me back, or somebody send me an email, let me know, hey man, they love the book, they love the destination that I brought them to, and how it impacted their life. So that gives me one of the best feelings, or one of the best highs you can have, is to know that somebody can really relate with what you created.
So you're really into the arts. That's what I'm getting from that.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
So how did you get into writing itself?
It started with my mother. My mother used to always tell me, people don't really know her story. And when I was young, I always said I want to write for my mother because my mother, she's gone now. But I wanted to make sure I share her story. And her story is in my books. Like my next book that's coming out is based out of Richmond. And that book has her inside of it, a glimpse of her inside of it. My next book after that will be in the 7 cities. And there's also a glimpse of her and another one of my brothers. And then my next book after that is going to the West Coast, out to LA, and then I'm going to end up in Mexico. All of my books have parts of my life, and all of my books are pretty much a way for me to give back to the people I love and that I care about. And that's, to answer your question, what brought me into writing was the love that I have for my mother, and I want to tell her story. And I do have a book dedicated to my mother that will be coming. It's going to be my 5th novel, because I already wrote 36 novels, but I only picked this one. This is my first one in print.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I have a large collection coming to the public.
Okay. So it's like you doing music, you just got books in the vault.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to give people something real. So if somebody want to pick it up, I'm going to talk about some deals. I have a couple of deals that came at me, but I already work hard, so you can't throw change at me.
Yeah. So are these all a part of the same series or different stories?
Different stories, but I do have a series coming out, but all of my books are still linked. They're not a series, but they are linked.
Okay. All right. So you say you already have your next few books planned out. Like, what's the inspiration behind that, and just knowing that you need a plan to be as successful as you can be?
My aspiration for my next book is a story that happened years ago inside the city of Richmond. It was a chaotic time. It lasted about 2 weeks. During that time, that's when Richmond was considered a murder capital. And it was a lot that the world was dealing with. And this was a story that it ended with a lot of twists and turns, and ended with a lot of confusion. But it's a story, it's that people know about, people really need to know to keep alive. And one thing about my books, they're passionate with love, they're passionate with the in-depth feeling of what family is like, and what it feels like to have your family by your side. Like my next book, Coming to the 7 Cities, the 3rd one for 7 cities. That's a book that's dealing with things that happen, and reality-based fiction. But at the same time, it's another passionate story. And that one empowers a lot of the women who are in the 7 cities, the women who stood up for a lot of the men and for their children that have untold stories. So this is what drives me. So I can really highlight, that love and the passion that's in our community that's not really been addressed.
Okay. You also, one thing you mentioned, that all of these novels are based in different locations. So, you say you were in the military and just traveling all over the place. Like, what are some, top, I guess, like 3 places that you drew inspiration from?
Like you see in this book, up in New York, and I have a few books overseas. It's hard to say. I can't really pinpoint one. I have friends and family all over the world. And being that I was in a military family, coming up, and we came up, like I said, we had our hard times when we couldn't eat, and times we couldn't afford anything. I met a lot of love and a lot of good people in so many places, I can't even describe it. Like even out here right now, where I am right now, I mean, the love and the family and friends that I have out here, there's no limit to it. And that's another reason why I do what I do, because I want to show everyone how much we are alike and what we all really stand for, versus, how how we're stigmatized from time to time, you know, to put something negative on us when there's really great stories out there for all people, all colors, all backgrounds.
Yeah. So spiritual peace is priceless. It's a statement from, you know, inside your book. So, you know, what's your inspiration? You seem very grounded, you know, in terms of, you know, knowing your purpose and, you know, what drives you. You know, what instilled that in you?
My mother, my father, my family. And now that keeps me grounded, even when I make mistakes at times. You know, years ago, when I thought that, you know, it was years ago when it was a time when you couldn't tell me that money didn't rule the world. I was humble, and that changed me. And now everything I do now is more deeper than that now. Now what I do now is about a passion to enlighten people, to help people, you know, and just, you know, show people how to succeed versus showing them how to fail. And a lot of that is instilled inside of my books, and a lot of things that I do on the side as far as mentoring the youth, communicating with the youth, and just, you know, even helping adults, show them how to properly invest and how to save and things of that nature.
Gotcha, okay. See, I do want to loop back around you touching on that. Dead Man Standing, you know, it's a very deep message within the book, you know, great story. And, you know, also, you know, like you said, you spoke on the injustice in the novel as well. But, you know, I like the message at the end of the music video for the promo of the book, you know, just one statement in there: this is not a slap in the face to the good standing officers. And I want to salute you for that, because a lot of times people will see stories like you're trying to push and flip the script and say it's like a us versus them. So, you know, what was your reasoning, you know, for putting that message in there?
Mainly because there's good and bad in everyone, every system, everything you have. And I firmly believe that we have to identify all the corrupt officers that you have. And that takes the people and the police to get involved, to identify the weeds and remove the weeds from the system. And that being said, that's why we ask the officers, if you claim to be a good standing officer, if you claim that you are here to be a servant of our community, then stand up. If you claim that you are here to protect our people, protect and serve, stand up. And I've seen that, and there's been many cases where I've seen that. But at the same time, there's been many cases where I've seen the opposite. Where you have certain officers who stand there and claim they can't do anything because that's a so-called brother in blue.
Right.
But once you allow injustice, you are no longer a servant of our people. Once you allow injustice, you are part of our injustice. And we need the good standing officers to stand up. Stop being scared. Stop being cowards. Like my mother would tell me, man up, a woman up, and do your job, protect and serve, even against the ones who stand beside you with the same badge that claim to here to protect and serve. Do your job, protect and serve. Protect, not neglect and serve.
Right, yes, I like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so who are some of your inspirations, just in general and, you know, authors?
One of my authors, D. Mack, he wrote the book Hood Driven. That's a good friend of mine. And he and I, a lot of times, we communicate with one another. And we always talk about, you know, things that we're trying to push across. And D. Mack in particular, he dealt with an officer up in Detroit that just tased him for fun. And they beat him and tased him for fun out in the freezing rain up in Detroit. And he went and he protested, trying to get, you know, the charges dropped off of him. The police lied on him, said that he attacked the police, and they tried to lock him up. And finally, 6 years later, the same cop that did that to him, murdered innocent children, and was finally convicted just 3 days ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, finally caught. And people like him, people like another good author, Sean Black, you know, he and I are friends. I even like James Patterson, it's a great author. There's a few great authors out there I do like a lot, you know, and I like the fact that, you know, they continue to push forward And I think it's a great thing. But at the same time, I think from my aspect, we're trying to bring something different to the plate now. Because just like we're writing, everything changes. And now we're in a world where we have to keep pace with the world. And that's why, like with my work, we're bringing soundtracks, we're bringing videos, we're even trying to make movies. If no one's going to support us, we're going to create our own. We're going to finance our own.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to, the team that we have now, we're going to bring something new to the stage.
Okay. So yeah, speaking on that, the team, how important is that support system? Just people helping you, to get to where you're trying to get to push your purpose and message.
It's very important. It's very important because we all go through our slumps. And we all feel like we're at the point sometimes where it seems like it's very difficult. Because a lot of people know success stories never happen overnight. Success stories are many years of no sleep. And the only way to continue a success story is to have the right people in your corner. And I thank God for the fact that I have people in my corner to just give me a pat in the back when I'm almost at the point of giving up, to just, give me just, even sometimes just, soft words to give me the strength to continue going.
Okay. And also G-Spot Publishing. Is that the team right there?
Yes, that's the team. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and G-Spot, the name for some people get caught off the name.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to disclose what the name means yet. But, it has, for many people, it has different meanings. You know what I'm saying? But it's the symbol of souls, it's G's on top of the world, and it's, G-Spot is just the beginning, like I say. It's just the beginning, it's a movement. And we're trying to let people know, hey, it's our time, it's our time.
Yeah. Yeah, so like economics, all of that. Because I heard you earlier mention, creating our own, ownership.
Correct.
Very big on that. So, salute. But also, I know you said that you won't disclose it yet, but when can people expect like the explanation for it?
We have a new video coming out soon, and the name of the video is called G-Spot.
Okay, so that kind of touch on it.
Yeah, that's going to touch on it. I'm not going to disclose it yet because we have some things coming up. We have some challenges coming up off of that. Like I say, it's a movement, and the movement's not going to stop. So anyone's interested, please stay tuned because we're not going to stop. We're going to push this thing.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and like always, that's what we're looking for, artists all the time, models, actresses, and everything, because it's a movement, and it's not going to stop.
Okay. So what would you consider your genre, I guess your type of writing? And I was gonna say, and what other genres do you draw inspiration from?
Currently, my first book, these are crime novels right now. But I plan to touch on a few genres. I have finance books coming out too. But of course, I'm using a different name, a pseudonym for that. I have some children's books coming out as well, because like I said, we have to teach the youth from a different aspect than what they were taught back in the 1920s. We're still teaching stuff that was taught in the 1920s. The learning process is different now, and I want to give some self-help books for the youth, so that way it can help them manage what they're doing nowadays as opposed to what they were doing, like I say, 100 years ago.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so I plan on touching on a few genres, and having adult self-help books, for financing and investing in stock and how to purchase property and things of that nature. But at the same time, I have 36 novels coming out that are related to the crime novels, and that's just that sector by itself.
Okay. Yeah, when you're not in that world, that's an amazing amount of writing.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. So how do you manage that, just with your life and just pushing the pen? Do you just write on the go whenever thoughts come to you, or?
Sometimes I get ideas, I have myself when I put up my pen and start jotting down notes throughout the day sometime, or sometimes I will write on a piece of paper if I have to and set it aside. And a lot of times when it comes to that, like I mentioned earlier, to be successful is to grind. A lot of people in our society, and I don't know how we got to this point now to where people think doing more of nothing will get you to where you want to go. And my expectations for myself is, hey, we're going to get it. So I don't mind sleeping a few hours. I don't mind taking power naps or whatever I have to do to get where I need to get to. And my team feels the same way. We're going to grind and we're going to get to where we have to go.
So what's your creative process like? How would you describe that?
Time management. Time management to the T. I try to make sure that every part of my day I can include something to prep me for later in the day. For instance, like just a good example would be like, when you're coming in late at night, you have to get up in the morning, so you prepare your meal before you have to get up in the morning. You set everything out, to the point where even though if you're working on one project and a thought may pop up for something that's it's going to be effective for something else down the line. Okay, we take a note for the next novel that's coming out. Okay, I set that aside for there. And I mean, because it happens all the time. So you have to be prepared to take notes, and then you have to set time for that. For instance, there's been times, because for me, believe it or not, music drives me when I write my novels. So sometimes I'm getting real pumped off an intense scene inside of one novel, and a thought may pop up for something in another novel. I have to stop, wait a minute, let me turn my jazz on to calm me back down to prepare this thought for the next novel, or maybe a romance song or whatever. Yeah, so different things in your life can help affect that,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, speaking of the jazz, I want to touch on the music and, video pieces of your novels. So it's like, I know you mentioned you have a soundtrack.
Correct.
For like each one. Okay.
And we're looking for jazz as well, all artists, anyone who would like to get involved and become a part of the movement. Okay. We're looking for all genres of music to get involved. I mean, I ask people, please check out the book. They'll love it. So far, and I don't mind being criticized, but so far everyone loves the novel. And if they have something that may feel from that, I don't mind get in contact with me. We can go from there. We can work something out. Because like I said, even if they can't get on this novel, we can have something for the next novel. But jazz, gospel, all genres of music are all welcome. Okay.
So do you write the lyrics for the soundtrack, or you have people bring ideas to you?
Now, for the song you just heard that's on it right now by Hollywood, he did all that by himself. It was magnificent. But we do try to get together as a team and see if we can come up with ideas. And one thing people know about me, I'm a critic as well, and I don't mind being criticized. But when we get together as a group, we attack the music as a team. And I think that's one thing that's hurting a lot of the music nowadays, because they don't have some people don't have a full team. And you have a person getting there just run something and then put it out, and you wonder why nobody's picking it up, why it's not, getting picked up by the public. I mean, because it sounds like something that just made in the backyard. But with our team, we have a team of people that gets around, and we all listen for things. I mean, we all close our eyes and dip our heads to see what we can hear, what's missing, what needs to be added to it, and things of that nature. And that's how we get together to release some real fire.
Okay. Yeah. What's your own, promo process? I'm not too sure of, for authors, what they do. Like, I know they do like book signings or showcases at places. Are you into that as well?
Yes, I am. I've been called out to a few venues, and I've been out there and done a great thing. And also, we're doing things that are slightly different too. A lot of our book signings are generally done in the daytime. Sometimes we do book signings at 1 a.m. in the middle of the night because we might get called out somewhere, and we might do book signings at clubs, at libraries, bookstores, or wherever. Because our team is slightly different. Once again, we have artists that perform as well. And if the artists are not needed, then I'll go by myself. Or sometimes the artist will go at night, and I'll do book signings at night when the artists perform at night. Okay. Yeah, so we're doing something slightly different, bringing something different to the game board.
Yeah, you got to keep up with the times.
There you go.
Technology, so yeah, can definitely appreciate that. Yeah. So yeah, I want to touch on your next two books, the one in Richmond and in the 7 cities. What are those? Without going into too much detail to spoil it, but with those being so close in proximity, are they going to be kind of related?
Yes, they are. Okay. Yes, they are. I say again, all my books are related. That's one thing. Even the first book that you read, Dead Man Standing, is related to all three. Okay. Yeah, and then when you read the book, it will tell you more. Okay. But all my books are related, and that's another thing that's so different about my style of writing. I've been to all the places that I write about, you know, and it's different from some people just pulling their stuff on the internet and say, oh wow, okay, I'm gonna write about something they don't know about. I've been there, I've done that, and my books, it's more in touch with reality and what really emotions are like. Versus, you know, I've read some books, you know, and they're written by someone in the middle of the suburbs and a distant, far away from it, from that immediate environment, and you can't relate. You're like, what are you even talking about? You know, people don't talk like this from this immediate area. You know, my books are actually in depth with the immediate areas, and you're gonna like the books, especially the one is based out of Richmond and one is based out of Seven Cities. You're gonna love them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't wait to check those out. You know, also immediately, what are some future things you have planned? Not really, doesn't have to be books, but just events or anything the viewers can get in contact with you on that.
We're still doing our thing. We're trying to get with a team to make a movie because my team, we're prepared to go independent if we have to, and then we just do everything 1,000%. So we're always looking for models, actresses, and different artists. We got the next song is coming out soon, and we're gonna have a challenge with that. And at the same time, we're still looking for more artists, you know, for more soundtracks. People like to get involved. Okay. I mean, and we're doing something similar to, I can say this, similar to like what Tyler Perry did with his team. You had a team, everyone started out with nothing, and look where they are now.
Yeah.
They all were totally invested.
Yeah.
You know, and they started with nothing. People laughed at him and said, you're running behind this guy, Tyler Perry, and he has nothing, but now look what they all are now.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get a team to do the same thing.
Collaboration.
There you go. Yeah. Everyone can help, and we're all involved. And once we get to a certain number, we're gonna have to close the door, you know, and just let the team go forward. And then maybe another year we'll get more and close the door again, so we can push all these teams forward. And even for the music, I'm like, if need be, we'll have our own concerts. If need be, we'll buy our own stadiums. We don't mind. We're gonna push.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we can't wait to see that. You know, the progress and the other novels. We're definitely gonna pass the word along. You know, aside from that interview. So yeah, we definitely appreciate you coming out to talk with us. And definitely look to do some more collaborative work with you.
Thanks a lot, and vice versa.
Yeah. All right. This is Voll Greene, and we're out.
Thanks a lot.
Dang, and them dirty bastards killing us for fun. So it's middle fingers to the law. A lot is going on and it's messing up my thoughts. I'm probably better.